Hi, welcome to Off Script. I'm Zach Lewis.
And I'm Dr. Draper.
Today on the show, we're talking about M3GAN, the new horror sci-fi film is out. We're going to talk about it. We also took a look at Netflix's The Pale Blue Eye. I think this one's flying under people's radar because it's got Christian Bale and Harry Melling, but it's directed by Scott Cooper, who did Crazy Heart and Out of the Furnace and a bunch of other half-decent features. So we watched it. We're going to talk about it. We're talking about some upcoming trailers, some things that are happening, notably not on the trailer park this week. No Ant-Man final trailer. It came out today. I think Annie and I are just sick of seeing it. Oh my God. I've seen the Ant-Man trailer a billion times.
I think that the Marvel fatigue is a little real right now, and hopefully this
For
will
us.
invigorate the franchise. Because I mean, Phase Snore was tough. Even with Black Panther was really pretty solid, but man,
Yes.
it was a chore. The last 18 months of Marvel have been a chore to get through.
I know. I feel like anybody who's been going to see, half of the Marvel movies that have come out have got to start feeling like, boy, like these are all all these colors are starting to run together. It's all starting to feel the same. You're not really doing anything new. Ant-Man. I can't wait to see our heroes go to a new exciting universe that they've never been to before. Boy, that's going to be weird.
Yeah. Well, I think what's most exciting about this one is that we will see the formal introduction of Kang the Conqueror, who's supposed to be the big bad guy for phase 4, 5, 6, similar to Thanos was for the first three. So that's something to be excited about.
It's true. I saw some articles saying that some producer or somebody was saying that this one's supposed to be just as important as like Captain America Winter Soldier or Captain America Civil War. Like this is going to be a huge Marvel feature. It's like, yeah, okay. Ant-Man 3. Sure, I'll believe it when I see it. And with that, we should get to the news. Our first story this week, Gladiator 2 has a star. Yeah, if you didn't know, Ridley Scott is making a sequel to this 2000 historical epic Gladiator, and we now have our lead, Paul Mescal, who is in the feature After Sun, which got a bunch of critical acclaim just at the end of last year. He's the guy, and he kind of looks like Russell Crowe, so it works out.
Yeah, Paul Mescal's kind of having a renaissance. He's been in this stuff, in lots of stuff over the pandemic, been in a lot of movies. He's definitely an up and coming actor. Is going to be a big name, a household name eventually. And yes, we're getting a sequel. I was really confused by this because I had heard of a completely different sequel to this movie where like Maximus travels through time or is embodied by different generals throughout history. It's a very bizarre storyline, but no, this is going to be a proper sequel taking place, a few decades after the first Gladiator, with Lucius, the son of the love interest played by Connie Nielsen, all grown up and having somehow, I'm sure, finding himself in the arena, being, having been influenced by seeing Maximus the Gladiator fight in the arena. And we don't really have any story details now, but it looks like this thing is happening.
It's true. I did think it was interesting. Reportedly, Joaquin Phoenix is going to be back, which is cool, along with Vanessa Kirby. Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. I can't believe there's going to be a Gladiator 2. I'm in the same boat as you. I heard about the script floating around that was real goofy. It was like the script of Forrest Gump 2, like real off the wall, like going to the moon and doing all, not really going to the moon, but doing weird stuff, right? So this sounds a lot more grounded. It's going to be coming hot off the heels of Ridley Scott's next movie, his upcoming Napoleon Bonaparte movie, which is wild because the last time I heard about a big Napoleon Bonaparte movie getting made, Stanley Kubrick wanted to put one together and never did. That was like something he was trying to do his whole life. But apparently Scott's taking a swing at it. And shortly after Bonaparte, we're going to be getting ads for Gladiator 2. We were talking about this in group chat. What are they going to call Gladiator 2? It can't just be Gladiator 2. It's got to be...
No, it's going to be Gladiator something, something.
Gladiator Origins, Gladiator Redemption, or
a Gladiator, Lucius, a Gladiator story,
Gladiator Bloodlines,
something like that. The thing about this though is that sword and sandal epics are really risky. They're super expensive to make, and sometimes they absolutely flop. Just ask Ridley Scott in his The Last Duel.
Just ask Ridley Scott.
Which was also that has this big opening battle scene, which is back into that sword and sandal kind of, lots of people on horseback, armor, the whole works, and that movie totally flops. So this will probably do better because of brand recognition, but it's going to be a risk.
Worth noting, though, if anybody I think should take a swing at Sword and Sandal, it's probably Ridley Scott because, yeah, for every miss, he's had a hit, I think. And for what it's worth, if you haven't seen The Last Duel over on HBO, if you're in the US, it's pretty good, actually. It's like it's a bit of a sleeper. Andy saw it a while back, recommended it. I finally watched it. Yeah, Last Duel is not a bad movie. It just didn't pop at the box office. Hopefully Gladiator 2 will have stronger legs. Speaking of strong legs, Francis Ford Coppola's new movie is in peril. Apparently
in shambles.
Things are not going well. Oh my God. Yes. Acclaimed director Francis Ford Coppola of such features as The Godfather and Apocalypse Now, and Dracula, of course, is making a new film entirely funded by himself. It's like $120 million. There's a golden rule in Hollywood: never spend your own money. And he's throwing that to the wall. He's saying, "I'm doing it." And apparently, the budget is ballooning out of control. There's crazy problems with the effects, and he's firing people. Andy, what's going on?
Megalopolis is this new movie that he's doing. Total shambles. It's a star-studded thing. It's probably going to be a 3-hour epic. A lot of the production staff and art director just quit, and he also fired the entire visual effects team. And so, it's a big, it's totally in shambles on set, but he's pushing through. He's persevering. This is a passion project. He's wanted to make this his whole life. He's been working towards it. He's finally, at the ripe old age of 83, pushing through it. Seems like a disaster, but sometimes productions like these manage to turn out a good movie. His own Apocalypse Now is probably the best example of that.
Yeah. If you're watching us on Facebook Live, I'm flipping through some of the set photos that, paparazzi picked up on IMDb. It looks okay. It looks like it needs some work. The story is Adam Driver plays I just had it up. He plays an architect that wants to rebuild New York in glamorous fashion following some kind of disaster. Also includes Shia LaBeouf, Giancarlo Esposito, Forrest Whitaker, Lawrence Fishburne, John Voight, Jason Schwartzman, Dustin Hoffman, Aubrey Plaza's in this movie. Yeah, I mean, pretty decent cast. Costumes are looking a little goofy, but boy, Coppola looks beleaguered, man. He looks like he needs a cigarette.
Yeah.
He's in his 90s, and he's funding his own movie, and I can only imagine the stress that comes with that. Not to mention, he's going to be working with special effects teams that are pretty tuned into 2022, 2023. What's going on now? I imagine there's going to be some clashes, though. Apparently, this isn't the first time that Coppola's had issues with the effects team on set.
So Coppola also famously fired the entire visual effects team in 1992's Dracula, Bram Stoker's Dracula, which was his hit and kind of his last hit. He's another one of these directors that his career is front-loaded. Everything that he made that we know, Godfather, Godfather 2, Apocalypse Now, all that was at the front half of his career, and he hasn't had a hit since 92's Dracula, so it's gonna be rough out there.
Yeah. It's gonna be rough out there. Yeah, it sure is. Recent features include Supernova, Youth Without Youth, Tetro, Twixt in 2011, featuring young Alden Ehrenreich, and Distant Vision in 2016, which I looked up. This was like this weird semi-live cinematic experience that was broadcast on a handful of college television stations. It's this experimental thing. It's really nothing. There aren't even any photos from it. So other than that, he's been running his wineries. You might have seen Francis Ford Coppola wine available at your local spirits and booze store, but apparently he sold a bunch of those wineries to fund this movie. So boy, I really hope he can pull his vision into the screen, because it looks like people might be having a tough time. Our last story this week: Avatar 2 crosses $1.7 billion at the box office, and M3GAN scares up a $30 million opening. Headline courtesy of Hollywood Reporter. I don't think I'd ever read anything as clever as M3GAN scares up a $30 million opening. But M3GAN's doing pretty well at the box office. $30 million's not blowing anybody's socks off, but for a horror movie that cost almost nothing to make, I mean, shoot, it's pretty good.
Yeah, M3GAN only cost $12 million to make, has made $45 million globally, $30 million in the US. So it's a certified hit. already, and it's only been out a week, and they're already talking sequel. They're moving forward. It's going to make some more money. It's horror seems to always do well, even in the face of a giant like Avatar. It's cheap to make. It's accessible. It's got a built-in fan base. They also, we'll talk about this a little bit later. M3GAN is also succeeding from kind of meme magic and virality. It's had this silly dance in the trailer that went famous on TikTok. It was doing really well, and of course the juggernaut that is Avatar 2, which we have both been so wrong about, or maybe I've just been so wrong about.
Wow.
Nearing 2 billion at the global box office, which no one predicted. A lot of people, they say never to bet against James Cameron. I did. I was wrong. I just didn't think, based on everything we know about the public going to cinema, this has defied all expectations.
I mean, comfortably over half of Avatar 2's like returns is international markets. Over $1 billion of that 1.7 billion comes from places Andy and I've never been to. Like, for what it's worth, yeah, we talk about movies a lot, but we're pretty America centric. And you're right. Like, yeah, we shouldn't bet against James Cameron. I didn't think, like, I thought it would clear $1 billion. I think Andy did too by the end of our last episode before it came out. But I don't think either of us thought it was on track to clear 2. And currently it is, which is crazy. I mean, tie-in. They'll probably do another re-release or something like they did for Avatar 1. They'll figure out a way to keep it in theaters for 90 days like Top Gun. Like, it'll probably get over the hump, which is bananas. And probably comfortably confirming an Avatar 3, which is crazy. Cameron also was saying some comments over the weekend about Avatar 4 and 5 probably happening. Like, oh, Disney's going to push me into it. I guess I got no choice. Like this... this moronic like hat in my hand, the humility thing. It's fine. I like Avatar fine, but boy, nobody can compete with James Cameron's ego, which apparently is earned because he can clear the budget. Meanwhile, Jason Blum, owner of Blum House, was tweeting all weekend about M3GAN. Oh my God, he could not get enough people to go see this thing. This is the biggest horror release in January since 2012 with The Devil Inside. So it's a big deal for them, right? Like, January is traditionally a terrible time to be at the movies. M3GAN is clearly rising above. Yeah, the secret appears to be the memes.
Yeah, well, we talk about how January is where you dump everything that you don't really know what to do with. There's a couple of other releases like Plane that just is super generic, or it's a lot of Oscar films from 2022 as well. And yeah, like you said, it's also defying expectations.
Yeah. So yeah, wild week at the movies, I guess. Meanwhile, Puss in Boots is doing pretty good. It came in number 3 with $12.4 million domestic, so not too shabby. 200 million worldwide, so we're probably getting another Puss in Boots movie. And yeah, Babylon is continuing to be at the absolute bottom of the pile with a domestic total of $13.5 million.
Oh my God.
I wonder if there's no way that movie will play any nicer overseas, right? Like, that's not going to.
No, I mean it's a very LA Hollywood movie. It's
yeah. Maybe the Brits will like it a little, but probably not much. That's what's going on at the movies this week. For more, keep it here on Off Script. With that, we should probably move into our formal review of M3GAN. Boy. I feel like I should be the first to say that I was a little skeptical about this feature. I'm excited that we're finally talking about it. Andy's going to take the summary on it. Andy, please take it away.
M3GAN. So this is the latest horror film from Atomic Monster and Blumhouse. Their latest, these two separate horror studios have combined to work together to bring us horror and kind of take over the kind of independent horror space. It's directed by Jared Johnstone, who has done TV before this. Written by James Wan and Akilah Cooper. Akilah Cooper famously wrote Malignant, which Zach is a big fan of.
Ah, yes.
M3GAN is about Gemma, played by Allison Williams, who you'll recognize from Get Out. She plays the girlfriend in that. Gemma is a workaholic. She works for some tech company building kind of toys for kids. The movie opens with this great toy commercial for this like grotesque Furby-esque thing that's totally interactive, and you need an app to play. And they go all in, and it's this horrific thing, and it's kind of about how kids are so addicted to the technology. And this is her life. And she's also working on this secret project, this doll that could really revolutionize the industry. But tragedy strikes, and her niece Katie's parents are killed in an accident. Katie comes to live with her, and we get that reluctant parent setup there that we've seen so often. Gemma is not ready to be a mother. She's not ready to be a parent. She doesn't really know how to. She just works with, she's an inventor. She works with her hands. She's not really good at this whole thing. Doesn't really know how to parent. But she has a bright idea of saying, "Hey, this doll that I've been working on. It's a learning computer, just like the T-1000, just like the Terminator. Why don't you make friends with it, and it'll learn to be your guide." And things go really well initially. The doll learns about Katie and helps parent, helps soothe her, helps copper down. It's kind of a therapist. But of course, like any good sci-fi story, the AI will eventually become self-aware, will become concerned with its own existence, and eventually goes on a big terror spree, which we've all seen in the trailers. So that's our setup. Zach, what'd you think?
Chucky, Annabelle, Brahms, M3GAN. There have been a lot of horror dolls over the years, and M3GAN treads the same ground, I think, as pretty much all of those, but manages to stand out in a unique way by embracing the camp, right? Doesn't lean all the way in. It manages to kind of step back and look at itself as a bit of a goofy concept. And I think it kind of works for what M3GAN's doing. I think it might be a little overpraised, in my opinion. I also thought the same thing as Malignant. And uniquely, I think M3GAN stands apart from Malignant in that it's not kind of the first to break out and do this currently. Malignant kind of paved the way. People compared Barbarian to that. Now we're here with this. While they're all different features, like M3GAN literally opens with like a camp ad that's very funny. The second line in the feature is about a dead dog. It's great. It knows exactly what it is, but that doesn't necessarily make it like a good movie. So I'm excited to talk about it because I feel conflicted. I think it does some stuff well. I do have some issues with it. Let's talk about M3GAN. Where do you want to get started?
Well, let's kind of talk about tone, because I think this is something that surprised me. It's a horror movie, but it's very campy, and it's almost a horror comedy. Like, it is so funny, and like it's never really scary at any point. You're never really terrified, and a lot of the terror is kind of the scary moments are kind of tongue in cheek and make you laugh. Like, there's parts where M3GAN does super super creepy stuff, and you can't help but laugh, but it's both creepy and funny at the same time. The other thing that the movie does really well, and I think helps it succeed, is that it takes its premise very seriously. Gemma being this robotics developer at this tech company, she's very passionate about the work and like the issues there about having to develop a new toy in time for the holidays. It's very real, and also the death of her niece's parents, I guess her sister. It takes this premise very seriously. Like, the first half of this could go in any direction. It could be a drama, it could be a comedy, it could be a dramedy, it could be a number of things. But because it really takes time to set up our characters and our situation very seriously, then like it pays off more when it gets into the camp.
Andy's totally right. The kind of setup in the front is actually smart here and works out very differently. Our young protagonist Violet is like tragically an orphan right at the open with a pretty clever like three scene sequence that sets up our beginning. And suddenly she is kind of forced to live with Allison Williams' character Gemma, who is this kind of tinkerer inventor who's been working on this big project and is under pressure from her boss. And now like the two of them kind of have to figure out how to get along. So the introduction of like a doll to help bridge that gap is perfect, right? Like it would work in any of the other doll movies. But M3GAN is unique in that she is basically like parenting Violet, where Gemma should be doing that. So you get you get a unique bit of spin on it where a character genuinely kind of stops down the movie and says, "Hey, Gemma, shouldn't like we don't need to teach M3GAN how to do all of these things. We don't need to teach M3GAN to tell Violet to eat her peas and put her water cup on the coaster. Like, that's something you should be doing. That's a social interaction you should have." And Gemma embraces this idea that like, no, technology can handle that for us. That way we can enjoy our lives and technology can do it. And you get this clever like space where this movie hangs out, where it's like between the people who want to be on their iPhones all the time and the other people who want to have like a genuine, authentic experience. Authenticity is huge nowadays. And Megan manages to like kind of thread that needle by tackling these topics while also being horror camp, right? Self-aware horror. Like it's kind of funny when it needs to be, and it's a little serious when it needs to be. And it ends up being like a relatively charming feature. Like it really does. Like I think that front-loaded stuff with Violet now being like needing a guardian and Gemma being like, yeah, I guess I can take her, like actually kind of works. Like, and that's because of Allison Williams working it in the cast as Gemma. Ronnie Chang also as a very funny boss, like just kind of a jerk who is another like bit of casting who like they know exactly what he's doing. Like he knows what he's doing. He knows why he's there. He's hamming it up. He's doing his Daily Show bits. Fantastic. Who else is in this movie that's worth talking about? A couple of lab assistants played by Jen Van Epps and Brian Jordan Alvarez. That's kind of it. The budget's real small here. They didn't need big talent. I think where they get like their most effective stuff is in the doll, right? Which I think we got to talk about Megan.
Yes. So it's this lifelike doll that is, it's like 3.5 feet high, deadpan look. And at first it's very helpful. And the scary part of this is not the killer doll. The scary part is the technology and like the AI part of this, because like for example, the doll asks, "Oh, how did Katie's parents die?" And they don't really want to talk about it. And so she does an internet search and like finds it. Oh, and quotes the news article where like, "Oh, they were brutally killed in the car accident when." So that's really the scary part. But she just has this deadpan look and really great voice work by Jenna Davis, who did the voice, where that it's charming but also lethal at the same time. And Megan's primary, like her prime directive, is to protect Katie from any physical or emotional harm. And this is where things kind of get to the extreme, because anything that threatens even Gemma herself, her guardian, Megan views as a threat. But it's so like I said, parts are really creepy, and then parts are just so funny because of like the things that the doll decides to do to make the child feel better.
Yeah. Jenna Davis, by the way, voice of Megan, notably a Dallas gal. She's from Plano. Who knew? Yeah, Megan is like very simply played. It's a really easy effect, right? You get a young girl, Amy Donald is the girl who played like the body of Megan, and you just stick like kind of an animatronic looking mask, or maybe just like a flat mask and CGI it after the fact, and they put these like goofy oversized gloves on her hands that look super fake. Like if you look at Megan's hands in any shot or in the movie or the trailer, they look terrible, but like you put her in some decent outfits, and most importantly, like you give her really specific movements, and like you get this like uncanny valley space where like Megan is fundamentally supposed to be a robot and clunky, but like moves very fluid, but doesn't have a face that is particularly fluid, and her eyes kind of flit around the room, and this all like
the blinking.
The blinking, yes, like and the eyes kind of moving. This all builds to a head when you get to, of course, the action sequences, the kills. You've seen the trailer, right? You know what's going on in Megan. You've got her dancing down hallways and like running on all fours through the woods, which is where like the creep does not work, but the hilarity comes out. Like those are the moments you're supposed to be laughing. And I think like any good slasher, that's kind of the way it's supposed to be, right? Like you're kind of supposed to chuckle along with Ghostface and Scream. Like you're kind of supposed to root for the teenagers to die in X.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of part of the point. And Megan like manages to find that and hold on to it, just like Malignant did, and say, hey, you know what? Like it's not so important that these characters are dying. What's important is your experience watching them die and the way you perceive it. And they're catering very specifically to us, for us to like this character and get a laugh out of what's happening, even if it's something terrible like child murdering. But that's Megan.
And that's where I think part of this movie falls a little short, is that it's a PG-13 horror, so they have to tone down a lot of violence. That's the kind of thing that would have put this over the edge. If you would have done an R-rated film, done some really grisly kills, because they're toned down, or like the camera cuts away right at the that you see like blood splatter. So it's a lot of implied violence, no graphic, gory violence like we like on this show. That's like you got in Malignant. Actually, that would have been a good. If they do a sequel, I think they should definitely push for an R rating and really go for it.
So,
but that's
yeah,
one thing that I think kind of falls short.
So I agree. It was originally shot to be an R-rated film. IMDb says in the editing room they figured out that the movie was basically shaping up to be PG-13, and they could just cut a few scenes and it would work. I'm not quite sure that's the case. Oftentimes PG-13 is going to net you larger ticket sales, and that definitely wouldn't hurt for this feature. It would have been very easy for marketing to go, you know what, we don't know if this is going to work. The idea is a little immature. Why don't we dumb it down a little? And that's not a bad thing, I think, in general, except it does hurt some of what's supposed to be like of the more suspenseful scenes, and it makes it a bit softer of a feature all around. There's one kill in particular. I was reading the Reddit movie thread afterwards, and people were genuinely confused like how it worked, because it wasn't obvious enough on screen, and people like, you don't really see the aftermath or anything, so it's not like patently obvious how a character is killed. You could get on the internet later and see, oh, okay, that's how it worked. And I'm happy to explain it, Andy, after, because you're probably thinking, who the hell are you talking about? But the point is, like, I think cutting away from some of the violence does kind of hurt the feature for a big dummy like me. And additionally, like, for all of my praise in its structure, the pacing is way lopsided in this feature. It is nearly an hour before you get to a kill. And we know from the trailer after 45 seconds of watching that there's supposed to be some killing. So, and the movie's only an hour 42. So over half of the runtime is completely missing the horror stuff. Yeah, like it's kind of there. It's suspenseful, and there's some decent stuff in there, but it's mostly introduction of characters and concepts, and it's just a little lopsided, and that makes it a bit dull in the second act. But it's a surprisingly good open and a pretty decent close. And I was surprised, I think, how much I actually ended up enjoying M3GAN.
Yeah, like a lot of horror, it has a really strong, it goes out with a bang on the third act.
Yeah, and I think that's probably for the best. I know with how much money it's made, Jason Blum is already talking about, oh my God, we're going to greenlight 10 sequels. And I mean, he was on Twitter all weekend. Yeah. He was going nuts. So I'm glad they got a feature on their hands. It never hurts to have somebody new in horror. Any other thoughts or recommendations, Andy?
I think I'm ready.
Would you recommend M3GAN?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially to fans of horror. It's fun. It's camp. It's not scary. It's really pretty funny. If you're new to horror, this would be a good entry, I think, because it's nothing too terrifying or too grisly or anything like that. Great performances from our leads, Allison Williams, and I said Amy Donald, who plays M3GAN, Violet McGraw, who plays Katie, she's the niece whose parents have died. It's a small film. It's a tight 100 minutes. I really enjoyed it. Highly recommend.
I think I'm in the same boat. I got problems with M3GAN, but like, for what it's worth, it's a pretty soft feature. There were a lot of children in our movie theater, which is kind of a bummer. And I say that, and I'm sure people think, oh, he means teenagers because he's old. No, literal children, like 6 to 8 year olds with their parents, like watching this movie. And like, that makes it a bit painful, but I think watching it with friends, it's a decent Halloween watch. Like, you could do worse than M3GAN. It's a little goofy, maybe a little too goofy for me, but like, I see the appeal. And I think this is going to be one of those movies people come up and ask me about for the next couple months. And they're like, oh, you do a movie podcast? Did you see M3GAN? I'll be, yeah. I'll say, come listen to Oscar Film Reviews, subscribe, rate, and review. New episodes every Tuesday. That's what I'll tell them. And that's what I'll tell you for more reviews just like M3GAN. With that, we should probably move into our next segment. Andy, you mind introducing this for us?
It's time for the trailer park. So we haven't done Trailer Park in a while, but we got the New Year's here, so we got a few new trailers down the pipeline. First up is Renfield, which is a character from the Dracula universe, Dracula story. He's Dracula's henchman. This is a horror comedy starring Nicholas Hoult and, of course, Nicolas Cage as a titular Dracula. Nicholas Hoult. This trailer is kind of crazy. Nicholas Hoult goes to this, it's like an AA meeting where he's talking about he's in this abusive, toxic relationship. He needs to get out. Everyone thinks he's talking about a significant other. He's clearly talking about Dracula. Um, and it's kind of all over the place. At one point, Renfield takes he eats a bug and he kind of gets superpowers. He fights off a bunch of demons or something. And Nicolas Cage is just like, he looks so ridiculous. He looks so absurd. He's got these like a row of fangs, and just the makeup is all over the place. I love it. It's so campy. I'm a little excited for it. Zach, what'd you think?
I'm kind of in the same boat. The trailer plays, I think, better than the concept does in my head, or worse, I should say, than the concept does in my head. Like the trailer's all right, but I was really excited by the idea of Nicholas Hoult and Nicolas Cage doing a comedy together. Like I think both of them have really great comedy chops, and I can imagine them playing off of each other really well. So doing this like master apprentice thing is pretty cool, and then layering on top of that, of course, some gothic horror, maybe some action, I think is a decent fit. I think Cage as Dracula is going to be fun. People may forget Nicholas Hoult did Warm Bodies in 2013, where he plays a zombie in a like Shakespearean spin on a romance. Like I think it was Romeo and Juliet or something like that. I don't even remember, but like he's definitely done goofy stuff like this before. Like I think he can carry it. I think Cage will be fun. Awkwafina's in it. Not such a bad feature.
Yeah, right. A wild Awkwafina appears.
Yes. Oh yeah, she comes in like 45 seconds in the trailer. Like, oh god. The next thing we need to talk about is Evil Dead Rise. So Evil Dead Rise is the new Evil Dead feature from writer-producer Sam Raimi. Sam is not directing this movie, unlike the first three Evil Dead movies.
He was one of the writers.
Yes, you're a writer. Yeah, right. And he helped write Evil Dead 2013, which I really liked, but wasn't for everybody. But this is Evil Dead Rise, new standalone feature starring a young family, a mom and her 3 kids living in an apartment in, I think, New York, when somehow one of them comes across in the street or an alley or something a plastic bag and rips it open, and it's the Necronomicon, and one of them reads from it, and mom gets possessed, and suddenly bad things are happening. This looks great. This looks really God, I hope it's as good as it looks. I really do. Like it looks grisly. God, there's some brutal looking kills. Like, oh man, like it looks like Evil Dead. I can't wait.
I was shocked by some of the trailer stuff. There's a red band and a green band trailer. We saw the green band cut, I think, when we were in the watching M3GAN. But the red band trailer, oh my gosh! Like some of it, I was like horrified by, because it's very graphic. There's grisly stuff, and that's what we want from the modern Evil Dead. A bunch of unknown actors in the roles, which is always nice, because then you don't know who's going to die when everyone's unknown. If there's a star in there, you're like, well, they're going to last. So that's always, and it just looks creepy. You got this possessed mom. It takes place in like a high-rise building.
I love how this is something Evil Dead 2013 got right. Like number one, if you're not going to have Sam Raimi there, don't do the comedy. Like do focus on the horror, which is great. Number two, God, it just looks grimy and dirty and sweaty, and like everything looks like it's covered in grime and like and then you start cutting people's arms off and stuff, and like, oh God, like just man, I can't wait for all the goofy fun I think people have at the movies. Like especially with horror nowadays, I really hope Evil Dead Rise manages to rise above. That'd be a pleasure. That'd be a treat.
That's right. And our latest trailer, which actually just dropped this morning, is called Beau is Afraid, which is the latest from director Ari Aster, who famously did Hereditary and Midsommar, 2 of the most kind of iconic horror films in the last 5-10 years. Those are his first 2 films. He knocked it out of the park with Hereditary, followed it up with a great film with Midsommar, and we finally get Beau is Afraid, which is a really crazy, bizarre trailer that I'm going to do my best to describe. It stars Joaquin Phoenix, and it has him kind of going across timelines. It's not necessarily a multiverse thing, but you see him as a young person, young adult, older adult, senior citizen adult, and it reminds me a lot of oh gosh, now I can't. What's the Jim Carrey romance movie with Eternal Sunshine? Eternal Sunshine.
Yeah, that one. Eternal Sunshine. Yeah.
Where it's just, it looks insane. It doesn't particularly look scary, which I think it still is, because I think it is still in the horror vein, but it's just a bizarre thing. I've never seen anything quite like this. It reminded me of some really crazy films, Synecdoche, New York. I'm thinking of Ending Things, those kinds of movies. I have no idea what it's about, but it's kind of just a uh, decade spanning thing. Zach, what are your thoughts?
So the initial look at Beau is Afraid was not outstanding. It's based on a short Ari Aster shot before he did Hereditary. I think of the same name, and for production for a long time, people weren't quite sure what it was going to be, but the working title was Disappointment Boulevard.
Oh,
Which
that's right.
like
That's right.
Look, I know this is an audio form, so it probably doesn't sound as good in your head as it looks on paper, but Disappointment Boulevard is a much stronger title. And it was a shame when he changed it to Beau is Afraid, and even more so when posters started to come out. And the poster for Beau is Afraid looks terrible.
Yeah,
it looks
does.
really bad. And it was like, okay, so the title got worse and the poster looks bad. What is this going to be? I am very pleased to say, having seen the trailer this morning, I have so much more confidence in whatever Aster is doing. This looks like a zany, wild adventure of a ride. It looks like it's going to have some spook horror. I love Nathan Lane. I like Amy Ryan. Joaquin Phoenix is a delight. I can't wait. I don't know what's going to happen in Beau is Afraid, but like, I bet I'm going to have fun at the movies. And like, that's what we need more of. I think Beau is Afraid looks like good stuff.
And with that, I mean, I'm excited. I'm excited for it mostly because of who's behind it. Like I said, written and directed by Ari Aster and Joaquin Phoenix. Joaquin Phoenix is very, very particular about the projects he chooses. So, if he's decided on it, I'm usually on board.
Yeah, I think he's got a good head on his shoulders. We'll see how his character fares. And with that, we should move into our final review of the episode. Like I said at the open, this was a smaller feature that I think flew under a lot of people's radars. But if you've been on Netflix lately, you might have seen it. If you've been perusing, you might have been like, oh, what's this new feature? Christian Bale's in it. It looks kind of like a dark, gothic murder mystery. From writer-director Scott Cooper, the movie is The Pale Blue Eye. In The Pale Blue Eye is 1830 in a very cold October in New England. And at West Point Academy one morning, a scream rings out. Somebody's found a young cadet who's hung himself just outside of the walls of the military academy. Much to their horror, once the body is carted inside, the coroner finds that when he's left the room at one point, or for the evening, I think, somebody breaks in and steals the cadet's heart right out of his chest, cuts it right out. So, esteemed alcoholic detective Augustus Landor is called, played by Christian Bale, to come to West Point and try to break through the cadets' kind of general code of silence and this, kind of cold October horror vibe, to find out what happened to this young cadet and hopefully make sure nothing else happens to any others. And it's there at West Point where he meets a young cadet who's willing to talk to him by the name of Edgar Allen Poe, the writer, in his young age, before he would go on to do great things, played quite brilliantly, I should say, at the open by Harry Melling, who you would know from The Ballad of Buster Scruggs, or even more mainstream, he plays Dudley Dursley in the Harry Potter movies. We've talked about Harry on this show before. This kid has got talent. He's got the heat. He's got the smoke. He's really good in this flick. So I'm excited to talk about him teaming up with Christian Bale in what is kind of like a horror historical mystery, almost like a buddy cop feature, to solve the mystery of this telltale heart. Andy, what did you think of The Pale Blue Eye?
I liked a lot of this film, most of it. Good performances, really great mood. Like, it's cold, it's dark, it's the middle of winter, you can't see, people are out at night. It's a spooky movie and it's a good mystery, but it guts. You feel like the movie is over, and then I look and there's like 25 minutes left, and I'm like, oh no. What are they gonna do? So I like the majority of this movie, but I do think it kind of loses its way towards the end.
I'm in the same boat. Like, I think this is actually a pretty good feature, with a pretty good writer director and a really, really stellar cast. I mean, Christian Bale, Harry Melling, Timothy Spall, Toby Jones, Charlotte Gainsbourg, Robert Duvall, Gillian Anderson is in this feature. Like, and they're all doing pretty good. Admittedly, I should say, as the lead, Christian Bale is just a little too toned down. He reminds me of Sam Rockwell and See How They Run. He plays this kind of weary detective who's got a drinking problem, who's like a little too low energy. And the other people around him, namely Harry Melling and Gillian Anderson, are stepping on the gas the whole time, and they elevate the feature. And it's frustrating because we saw Bale in Amsterdam last year when he is going all the way. Oh God, he's got the makeup and he's like twisted up and in pain.
Got the
and here he's just kind of like a quiet, pensive, mysterious guy, which is not bad, but I don't think it quite clears the hump. Meanwhile, Harry Melling is fantastic as Edgar Allan Poe. He's got this thick Southern drawl, and he's got the black locks, and he's got this goofy shaped head that makes him stand out, is like just unique enough from everybody else. And I swear the kid's stealing scenes right out from under Bale. Like, it's crazy how good he is in this movie. He's excellent.
Yeah. The performances are on one hand really good, and like you said, there's basically three different levels. You got Christian Bale, who's really toned down and whose accent is not just his accent, everyone's accent besides Harry Melling is kind of all over the place. I think because there's a bunch of British actors that are forgetting that they're supposed to be in America. Christian Bale's, like you said, a little bit too toned down. He just doesn't have enough personality. Harry Melling is like doing Shakespeare. In front of it. He's so good because he's so eccentric, and he's very articulate. He's very well read. He uses a lot of big words and flowery dialogue. You can tell he's a writer. And then you have Gillian Anderson, which I don't know what she's doing because like she comes out, she sounds like she's doing a caricature of a Southern belle, of doing this like, oh my, I do believe I have a case of the vapors. Like that's how she sounds. And I'm like, what are you doing? She sounds like, she sounds like me trying to do an impression of a Southern woman. And she kind of she's just overacting everything. She's not in a lot of scenes, but it's really bizarre and really funny. But most everyone else is pretty solid in this movie.
Anderson, like, for what it's worth, what she's doing is immersive. I didn't even know it was her till the end of the movie, until I hit credits. I was like, oh my God, that's Gillian Anderson. I was like, that woman's tremendous. Boy, she's really doing something. And she sure was. Gillian Anderson's just going for it. And I just think, I don't know, like, I keep thinking Bale probably shot this alongside Amsterdam. And like, you show up to the Amsterdam set, like, all right, game time, baby. And then he'd show up to the set for the Pale Blue Eye and be like, practice round. Like, I'll do an easy lap today. I'll take it slow. Like, and I know that's not that kind of actor, but like, I mean, he was in Thor 4, and he's really going for it as Gore the God Butcher, and then he's like doing this. So anyway, outside of tone, the much larger, more important bit, the mystery, right? Mm-hmm. What is going on in the Pale Blue Eye? And I do like this kind of like, you know, Poe-esque tribute to like stuff that he's done in the past. You get a lot of decent gothic imagery, like the missing heart, the ravens, like the I don't know, the murders, the pentagrams on the ground, the hole in the floor. Like, you do start to get some like creepy, kooky stuff, and I think that stuff's really effective. It's based on a book, I should say, by Louis Bayard. And Scott Cooper wrote and directed it for the screen. I think this movie does need to be on Netflix. I should say it's not quite big enough for the silver screen.
It doesn't have that Hollywood polish.
No, and I'm not sure why that is, because it feels pretty intimate, but like it doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't have that oomph. It doesn't have that something like that. That's that fairy dust that all the big movies have. It's a shame because I feel like a lot of the cast is really trying for it.
Right. Yeah. So, well, about our mystery, there has been a murder at this cadet corps, at this military academy. A young soldier has been found hanged, and before the day is before the coroner can get him, his heart has been cut out of his chest, and so that's when Augustus Landor, the detective played by Christian Bale, comes in to solve this murder, and he doesn't really know where to start. Everyone pretty much suspects foul play. The hanging is real sloppy. The man's found with his feet, kind of dangling, touching the ground. Wasn't, it's more like he choked on the rope as opposed to, was dropped from it. So that kind of sets up our thing, and he eventually employs Edgar Allan Poe to be kind of his eyes and ears around the academy. Like, tell me the things you see, the relationships, who's playing who's upset, and that's kind of where their relationship develops, because he realizes that Poe is a lot smarter and than people give him credit for. He's a very capable person. That's kind of what sets up this relationship.
Yeah, Poe, played by Harry Melling, really gets an opportunity for like a lot of really fantastic dialogue. Like Andy said, very flowery language, big vocab. Poe is a writer at heart, and Melling reads him like it's Shakespeare. And I think that's where Melling gets most of his experience. I think he's been doing a lot of theater. Man, like he really is going for it here. Honestly, it's a shame he's not the lead, like, because I think he easily could be. This kid's got leading man material, in my opinion. But I did like the way the two of these characters kind of bounce off each other. Bale, while being, kind of toned down, is ultimately a pretty quiet individual. Like, he kind of sits back and lets people stew in their own guilt and then kind of gets a confession slowly. Whereas Poe is a very curious guy, wide-eyed individual. Like, he wants to know a lot about the world, and he reads and he writes, and he fancies a lady every now and again who usually don't fancy him because they think he's weird. And, he's a young guy trying to kind of grow up and find his way in the world. So the opportunity to work with this detective is a really big deal for him. But he's got to kind of walk this line because he's also West Point, an academy that's so strict. When a cadet turns up having committed suicide, they're like, well, it's weird, but it's not that weird. It's happened before. So it's kind of a dark feature. I love the exteriors, like how this stuff looks outside. Lots of snow and lots of small sets, but in its best moments it remind me of like early Tim Burton, like kind of just, kind of the woods just kind of go off, lots of big scraggly dead trees, and just kind of smoke and fog and darkness. Like, I think that stuff is perfect for what's supposed to be like a gothic horror feature. I do think it suffers a bit in the pacing. It's 2 hours 8 minutes, a little long. And I don't want to give away anything for the ending, but Andy's right. It's totally lopsided. Like, I was watching this movie late at night, and I checked my watch when I thought it was wrapping up, and was like, there's an hour to go. What is the rest of this movie supposed to be?
Yeah.
I think I'm pleased to say it does pay off with some quality performances, but it's a little, the structure is a little odd. It's a little weird going in.
It also, while like the tone and mood and performances are good, I feel it's, in a lot of ways, it's kind of cliche. If you've watched any kind of mystery movie, you're going to guess a lot of, you're going to predict and guess a lot of what happens without too much trouble. Our answers and our twists are not as satisfying as they need to be, and also it's not really about much more. This is one thing that I heard Rian Johnson say very famously in an interview about Glass Onion. He was saying that when you do a whodunit, the film cannot rest on the big reveal or the big twist. Like the solving of the mystery can't be the big deal. It's got to be about a lot more needs to be going on in the film than just the mystery. And the Pale Blue Eye is kind of that. It's kind of all about the mystery and not much more.
Now, before we jump into recommendations, I do want to see, while I think this is, a pretty solid feature, it is a Netflix movie. And I should say, at least in Andy and I's experience, like, Netflix has been slacking lately. So I do feel pretty comfortable in saying this is a decent Netflix feature. Like, it really is. It's not that bad. You got a good cast. I think people clearly believe in Scott Cooper. Andy, what do you think in the kind of pantheon of Netflix films? It's not half bad.
It's better. It's better than the average Netflix film for sure. It would be more like an Apple Plus film.
Here you go. Yeah, sure. Yeah, right. That $5 feature. With that, Andy, would you recommend The Pale Blue Eye?
Yeah, I would. I would say save it for streaming if it was in theaters, but it's not. It's definitely appropriate for the streaming audience. It's lacking that Hollywood polish, but it's an interesting mystery. Good performances, very gothic, very creepy and slow, and like I said, good performances. There's a lot going on with it. It has a lot going for it that I did enjoy more. I enjoyed it more than I did it, but it definitely has some shortcomings as well.
I think I'd recommend it if you're stuck at home and really need something to watch and you're just cruising and you can't really land on it, but it catches your eye and you're like, yeah, maybe that one. Give it a go. Like you could do worse for sure. Like of the casual surfing of Netflix, I think Pale Blue Eye is probably a winner. If it was in theaters, I'm not sure I'd give such a ringing endorsement, but that's what streaming is all about, right? Accessibility, bringing quality products to you, and I think Pale Blue Eye, in one way or another, is that. Especially in, again, Harry Melling, who I cannot get enough of. That kid's great. I can't wait to see what he does next. And that about wraps our show for the week. Andy, what are we watching next week?
We got 2 features up on the dock. The first is one that we haven't really talked about and haven't heard much around. It's called Skinamarink, and I haven't heard anything about this. I've just seen the title somewhere. It's a new horror thing. We saw the teaser before M3GAN. It's hard to describe. It's a bunch of like kind of fuzzy photos inside of a house, a very Blair Witch Project.
I can describe it.
Okay, go ahead, Zach.
Do you want to jump in? Okay, yes, I can describe this. A YouTuber had a series where he would try to film people's nightmares, and they would comment oh yeah, I have frequent nightmares about this, and he would try to film them. And one that he saw come up a lot was, I'm 6 or 7 and I'm in my house at night and my parents aren't there and somebody's in there and I don't know who it is and I don't know what to do and I can't like run or get away. And he was like, I have that too. And a lot of people would comment that. So in the vein of making these videos, he developed a full feature called Skinamarink. It's 2 children in a house. It's dark, and that's all I really know. And it's a really odd trailer. It's a micro budget horror. I think it's in the vein of like Blair Witch or Paranormal Activity. Very excited to watch this. Great trailer, plays great in a theater. Like it might be heat. I don't know. So we're gonna go see Skinamarink and find out.
And then we're also going to finally take a look at Tar, Todd Field's big epic character study of a fictional, which I kept thinking this was a real person, a fictional composer Lydia Tar played brilliantly, apparently, by Cate Blanchett. It's 2 hours, 40 minutes long. It's on VOD, and we're going to finally sit down and see what it's all about.
I'm not skeptical about Tar, but we watch a lot of movies for this podcast. So when we miss one and
Scorsese says it's going to save cinema.
Yes, when we miss one and a bunch of people say it's amazing, like in this weird twisted way, I get more cynical about it because I'm like, what did you see that I didn't see? Like, how's this special? So hopefully Tar is one that charms me from the ground up. I'm not excited about that runtime though, or that VOD price, $20. It's fine. If you enjoyed the show today, if you liked M3GAN and you agree with us or disagree with us, or you maybe want to check out the Pale Blue Eye after seeing our review, have any hot takes on new trailers coming out, stories, news, or any other movie related inquiries, commentary, whatever, you can write into the show and we'll talk about it right here on the show. It's true. It's a huge thing. Fans love it. You can write us at mail@offscriptfilmreview.com. Correspondence, right? The Offscript mailbag. You can contribute, be a part of the show. You can find us on our website, offscriptfilmreview.com. You can find us on Facebook at Offscript Film Review, where we live stream the show every Tuesday when we do it about 5 o'clock CST. We're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, we're on YouTube, where we upload our live streams after the fact. And you can find the show on all the usual podcast outlets: iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, iHeartMedia. The best way you can keep up with Offscript is just subscribe. Movies are expensive. Podcasts are cheap. Offscript is free. Who needs to buy movie tickets? And you can listen to our handy podcast to tell you how you should feel about the movies. We love doing this show, and we couldn't do it without fans like you. So from all of us at Offscript, I'm Zach Lewis.
And I'm Dr. Draper.
Thanks for watching.